YouTube, welcome back. I've got a Pantheon Pre-Con in under 10 minutes. Today we're talking about Lorraine. So let's jump right into it. We've got Spirit of Wind Lorraine here. So I've talked about a lot how one of the decks in your pod should be a beatdown deck. For the Pre-Cons, this is the one. Lorraine, she is probably pound for pound the best champ. We don't got to talk about her much. She brings out a weapon. We're going to talk about some of those, right? We've got our classic Sword of Seeking. We've got our Drawn Blade. We've got Quietus Blade? I know that's a hard word, but we looked it up. That's how you say it. And Prismatic Edge. So we've got swords. We're a warrior. This is all we're trying to do, right? Prismatic Edge in a 4-player, everybody reveals, and we get to use everybody's memory colors. So super powerful there. Quietus Blade is a Regalia weapon. As long as there are no cards in your material deck, it gets +4 attack and has 3 and rest it. Quietus Blade gains Spell Shroud until end of turn, and it is a 2/3 base. So that is our finisher. If we get into the late game, that thing is hitting hard. Then we have a little bit of utility. We've got Safeguard Amulet, Tariff Ring. We're going to talk about Equinox Hour and Charm of Anticipation. So obviously, a little bit of protection depending on whatever you could be playing against. Equinox Hour is a great, everybody gets the draw. You can go around the table and give everybody a chance. You can team up with somebody. It's a great political tool. It's just draw a card, then target opponent may materialize a card from their material deck. And then Charm of Anticipation is banish charm, draw a card, activate this ability only if you have the crowd's favor status. And this deck has a lot of ways to get it. So we're going to jump into the main deck, and we are the beatdown, so I'm going to talk about allies. So we're just going to go through a lot of them, and then I'm going to talk about some of the most exciting ones in a little more depth. So Apocal Conqueror, Piquant Shieldbearer, Crusader of Asa, Veteran Soldier, Esteemed Knight, Weaponsmith, Sanctified Paladin. You've heard me talk about that card a lot. Shade Striker, Lurking Assailant, and Ace and Protector. We'll talk about these 10 real short. So a lot of just incredibly, we want to keep the beat down. We want to keep playing bodies and keep attacking our opponents, breaking their shields early and threatening them so they can't get into their end game. We've got a lot of 2/3s here. A lot of 2/3s. Get them on the field, start doing that damage. Some of our new cards, Sanctified Paladin, it has Foster. It's like your best turn 1 play. If it gets to make it, you draw 2, which it will because of Pantheon Barrier. Weaponsmith, just great to give you more durability on your weapons. And then just some more utility, beat down guys. That's honestly nothing too crazy here. You know a lot of these cards. The Shield Bearer and the Conqueror are 2 new cards, but they're not doing anything crazy. The Conqueror is as long as it's attacking a domain, it gets +3 attack. And then Shield Bearer is just a 1/4 taunter. Then we've got Swift Recruit, Tactful Sergeant, Wind Rider Vanguard, Silver Soldier, Nimble Court Assassin, and Intangible Geist. So these 6, Swift Recruit, Floating Memory, 1/2 Interceptor, a little bit of defense, and an early play. Tactful Sergeant replaces itself if you've attacked, and we're Lorraine. We're always trying to attack, doing the best we can. Wind Rider Vanguard is just another 2/3 for 3 with Vigor. And then Silver Soldier, 3/4 Exalted, Retort 2 Vigor. Just a great card when you get into the late game with Exalted, a 3/4 for 3 with these effects. Same with Nimble Court Assassin, gives you agility 3, and it's a 4/4 with Ambush and Vigor. Intangible Geist, though, this guy is a classic. You might not know this one if you haven't been playing since the beginning. And on enter, you may choose any amount of Regalia cards from your banishment and put them into your material deck. And then it has class bonus, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Intangible Geist. So this lets you recycle those swords, draw effects, things like that. And then it puts a body on the board that's really hard to deal with. Now, the allies I want to talk about really fast. Phalanx Captain, Banner Knight, Beacon Knight, Templar of the Eternal, Sabella, Gossamer Penance, Numinous Monk, and Altruistic Blacksmith. So Phalanx Captain and Banner Knight, we're going wide. You guys see how many allies we have? We're trying to do as much damage as we can. Banner Knight even makes Lorraine hit a little harder. We've got Beacon Knight, which is just a 3/3 Vigor for 3. Whenever 1 or more Regalia enter the field under your control, put a buff counter on Beacon Knight. So if this thing gets to sit there, it gets out of control pretty quick. Templar of the Eternal is really cool. It prevents all combat damage that would be dealt to him. And then you can pay 2 and return a Regalia you control to its owner's material deck and put a buff counter on Templar, the Eternal, and it gains Spell Shroud until end of turn. And it's a 4/3 for 4. Big body. Sabella. Gossamer Penance. This card's crazy cool. Unique ally, 2/2 for 3 with on enter. Choose a Sword Regalia card with memory cost 1 or less from your banishment and put it onto the field. Put a bond counter on it. It gets +2 attack for as long as you control Sabella. And then on leave, sacrifice each Regalia with a bond counter on it. Drawn Blade, baby. Get back that Drawn Blade, draw more cards. She's very powerful. Numinous Monk is a card that lets our deck have another way to win the game. So what it is, it's a 2/4 for 3 that Regalia you control have tap as a spell, deal 1 damage to target unit. That's crazy. Now we can do spell damage. We can, at the end of their turn, weapons do not rest when you attack, so you can rest them to deal 1 damage to your opponent in their end step, go to your turn, utilize it every turn cycle. And then Altruistic Blacksmith, just a 1/3 for 3 interceptor that's a new card that on enter, each player summons a cheap sword token, which I've got right here. It's just a 1 cost sword token, but then you gain the crowd's favor. We want the crowd's favor because we want to be attacking our opponents without being taxed. So we're not so much using the crowd's favor to protect ourselves, but to make it easier to kill our opponents. Now, 2 cards I wanted to talk about that I forgot after the material deck are the 2 boons in this deck. We've got Lesser Boon of Pavarti, which is just as you gain this boon, put 6 durability counters on them. It's a 0 cost fast speed. It doesn't have a level requirement. Protect your Pantheon barrier, protects your allies. That's what I want you guys to remember. Anything that attacks your allies, that damage is going to go to that Pantheon barrier. So we get 12 shield to protect our allies early. And then Greater Boon of Pavarti, it has level 2 locked. As you gain it, draw a card. And Regalia you control have rest, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target unit this turn. Sweet defense. I wanted to talk about Pendant of Accrual and Stocked Outpost, just 2 new cards. Pendant of Accrual, you guys know this one. We've talked about it a little bit. At the beginning of each opponent's recollection phase, they may pay 2 if they don't put a debt counter. And then we can remove 2 to draw a card into memory. And then Stocked Outpost is just a 4 health siegeable castle that on entry you draw a card into memory. And the opponent that kills it on their turn gets to draw a card. Now, we've seen the allies. I want to talk about the attacks. So we've got Savage Attack, Sudden Steal, Besiege Slash, Savage Slash, Wind Cutter, Shred to Ribbons, Spirit Blade Ghost Strike, Slay the King, Reaping Legacy, and Hurricane Sweep. Pretty straightforward. We've got floating memory attacks here. Sudden Steal's just a 5 damage attack that the more levels we are, we have efficiency. Besiege Slash, very basic attack. Wind Cutter is one that we can keep recurring, which is pretty cool. But I want to talk about these 5 because they're a little different. So Hurricane Sweep, this is our defensive card. We use this to deal with board states that are stopping our units from being able to actively kill our opponents. And we also want to use it in tandem with Lorraine 2 because on kill we get to draw cards. Reaping Legacy, it gets +1 attack for each Sword Regalia card in your banishment, and it is a 3 cost for 4. This can attack for a lot in the late game because we end up breaking all of our swords. Then we get to use a little bit of bonus to add to this attack and kill some of those opponents. Slay the King is another one from Fractured Crown that on attack, you may banish a card from your material deck. If you do, it gains on kill, you may play the banished card. This lets us cheat in another materialization to kill an ally. It is a 2 cost 4 attack. And sometimes you can just go face with that because it's good damage, good value. Shred to Ribbons is as long as the attacker is attacking an ally with 5 or more health, Shred to Ribbons gets +3 attack. It's a 3 cost 2 damage, really good at dealing with sticky threats that have a lot of health stat. And lastly, another one that you guys might not remember, it's a 0 cost 1 damage Spirit Blade Ghost Strike. On attack, you may banish a card from your material deck. If you do, your champion attacks get +1 until end of turn. Now we're going to blast through these and talk about the exciting ones, but let's get through these. We've got Shared Favor. We're using that to get the crowd's favor. Deflecting Edge, Break Apart. You're going to see a lot of utility here. Inspiring Call, just to push a little bit more damage. Sacred Barrier, a nice defensive card. Rally the Peasants. We have 3 opponents that can cause the alternative cost mode because you just need one of them to control 3 or less, and then we get to dig 6 for an ally, a human, which is really cool. Veiling Breeze for defense. Reclaim. Attune with the Winds to pump our board, get a little bit stronger. And then Dematerialize. Like I said, we've got Break Apart, Dematerialize. These cards that deal with certain issues on the board. We've got a little bit of defense in Veiling Breeze, Deflecting Edge. You want to be prepared for everything in Pantheon. I think that's something that you guys will see in these precons is that everything needs to have some type of answer in your deck. Next up, we've got Favorable Winds, Scatter Essence, destroying some Fantasia. Like I said, there's a lot of Fantasia in this format. It also has Floating. Cleansing Reunion, get rid of those graveyards, right? Easy peasy. Disorienting Winds, just a great value card. It picks up an ally, can be yours, can be your opponent's, and then you draw a card, and it has efficiency. Zephyr, just utility, answer all, great card. Spirit's Blessing lets us wake up and attack again. If you're not familiar, you put a Regalia back. Spirit Blade Infusion, this makes our attacks this turn make us draw a card, and it makes that attack, a sword weapon, get +3. So we can put this on a sword, attack multiple times, draw multiple cards. Spirit Blade Ascension, swap the swords that you have in play. Crux Sight to get back some of these Crux cards so that we can utilize them again. And then Holkoius Animus, which materialize a Regalia card from your material deck or banishment slow speed for 3. So it's a advanced element beseech. Pretty strong. And the last cards I wanted to talk about, guys, Iridescent Resurgence, Unity's Gale, Wisp's Protection, Bolstering Tempest, and Imperial Countermeasure. So, Imperial Countermeasure is just prevent the next 4 damage that would be dealt to target unit this turn, draw a card into your memory. Pretty solid. This is just Exalted in the late game, more defense, it replaces itself and is defense. Bolstering Tempest, this card costs 2 more to activate for each target beyond the first. Any amount of target human allies allies get +3. You don't have to control them. You could pump your opponents. Get +3 attack until end of turn. So target 1, it costs more for each target, but we can pump our board. It's a cool new card to add more damage. Wisp's Protection, prevent the next 4x damage that would be dealt to target unit this turn. It costs 2. X is the amount of Regalias on the field at fast speed. So we get a ton of Regalias, right? We have all that protection we're creating with our Boon. We're resting them to do damage with our units, giving us, more ways to end the game. And then this one is just another protection card. And the last 2, Unity's Gale, target ally gets +3 until end of turn. At the beginning of the next end phase, if that ally is damaged and you don't control it, you gain the crowd's favor. So you use this to protect an ally of your opponents, get the crowd's favor, and just swing right back at the person that you helped, try to end the game quicker. Iridescent Resurgence, return target non-champion, non-regalia, Crux element card from your banishment or graveyard to your memory. We're recurring our end game threats. That's what we want to be doing. That's what this deck is all about. It's recursion. It is relentless assault, playing a ton of units and ending the game before your opponents. Be the beatdown. Lorraine's so good at it, and you will be too. Check this out. Pantheon's crazy. Thank you guys so much for checking out this content. If you like it, you'd like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications because we put out weekly content. Join our Discord community below, and I'll see you next week. Come hang out at the Trading Post.